Hey everybody, it's Julie. Welcome to Hello Monday. Today I'm going to be making a rainbow holiday shaker card. That's a mouthful, isn't it? I'm also going to be hot foil stamping on the Essentials by Ellen crystal clear plastic, which at first I wasn't sure I was going to be able to pull it off, so I had to do quite a bit of experimentation, and hopefully I will save you some grief there. I also wanted to mention that I accidentally, in all of these experiments, put the foil on to my hot foil stamp, and I was like, oh no, I've ruined it. And believe it or not, there's an easy remedy for that. I found out if you can, if you have any nail polish remover on hand, just regular acetone, you can go ahead and take one of those, cotton balls, or I happen to have some of these cotton pads or rounds or whatever you want to call them, and apply some of that acetone to it, and it just rubbed it and cleaned it right off. And now the hot foil stamp looks like brand new again. So I was really excited to see that this actually does work. See, it's all perfect and ready to go. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is check over my foil. I want to make sure that it doesn't have any scratches or mars in the surface of the foil on the side that's going to transfer. And this is a really fun foil. It's called Aurora. It's got this cool rainbow effect. Now, I've discovered as I've been foiling that those things roll around on your table surface, and I don't have the sharpest of scissors. So to get it to stay in place and quit rolling around on me, I just grab the little finger grippy things that protect your fingers when you're dealing with a hot, foil press. And I just wedged my roll of foil there into it, and it kept it from rolling around on my desk. And I was like, wow, that's great, multi-purpose. And then I could easily cut that piece of foil. So now I've got a quarter sheet of that crystal clear plastic, and I just have a quarter sheet of cardstock underneath it just so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to place that hot foil stamp exactly where I want it and use a little bit of that purple tape to anchor it in place and act as a hinge. And that's a great tip I picked up from my girl Carissa Wiley. So now I'm going to place the foil underneath it, and once I've got that in place, I know exactly where that is going to get foiled onto that piece of plastic. And then I'm going to fire up the foil press. So I'm going to turn on the main power switch there on the side, and then on the dashboard there, fire up the heating element by powering that on. And I'm going to set this once I insert the actual press into that heating mechanism. I'm going to fire it up to the highest temperature and then set the timer for 20 seconds. So once that turns green and it beeps at me, that tells me this thing has preheated and it's ready to go. And I can take my piece of plastic, I'm going to turn it around and flip it over, and I'm going to use these magnetic tweezers to anchor that all together, and then I can place it down onto the platform there. And in the past, I've used a vellum template that I made so I could see where things were getting placed and plan the layout. But now that I'm doing this little trick, I don't have to do that anymore. I can use those tweezers to get it on there. Now, I put the hot Teflon, that hard plate on top, and I turn the timer on. Now I do have a shim that I've taped to the top side of that plate. I just used washi tape, and it's 110 pound plus another 80 pound sheet. And I found that gave me the best results on this crystal clear plastic. So I'm going to flip this over, and if it's still hot, you can use those magnetic tweezers to peel away the hot foil stamp. Or, if you're smart and you just let it cool down for a few minutes. I was getting anxious there because I wanted to see what kind of results I got. And then when you peel that away, you're like, wow, that's a perfect foiling. And I do see that I got a little bit of overfoiling there. I just wanted to show you close up what happened. And you can actually remedy this very easily. Now, in the past, when I was experimenting, I took the dull, the blunt edge of my scissors and tried to scrape it away. I tried various things to scrape it away, and I kept scratching up the plastic. I don't know if it's because I was too aggressive or what, but I figured I didn't have anything to lose. So I grabbed some of that acetone and poured it into the cap. And dipped a Q-tip in there, and then I was just able to just completely erase all of the overfoiling super, super easy on this plastic. And then just take a piece of dry, clean paper towel, dry it off there, and you would never know there was any overfoiling at any point on this. And there you can see how pretty that rainbow effect is. You really don't realize it at first when you're looking at it, and when you put it on your project, that it's actually going to have this really super cool rainbow effect. So now I'm going to take some pattern paper. This is from a rainbow collection by Lawn Fawn, and I've grabbed an Essentials by Ellen, a rectangle die, and I'm just going to run that through my Gemini to create a frame. And then I need to put some double-sided sticky tape. I'm just going to grab, this is a 1/4 inch wide Be Creative tape. I'm just going to run that along the perimeter there, and once I have that secured, I can go ahead and peel back the liner paper partially so that I can anchor a corner of this. You know, a lot of times we do some guesswork on these and we're not sure if we're getting it on. Well, because I'm only partially applying it, I have a much better chance of getting it on there exactly where I need it to go. So this is one of those tricks I learned a long time ago from Sherry Carroll, and it's like invaluable. So now I'm just going to continue. Once I've got it anchored in place, I can go ahead and remove all those liner papers, and boom, you know, it's on there. So there's my shaker window. I'm going to set that aside. And then I'm going to take a 1/4 sheet of Neenah Solar White. This is 80 pound, and I'm just going to create a background by doing some very light blending there. I started out with It's a Boy dye ink with those blender brushes, and that ink is by Catherine Pooler. I love those inks, and they blend beautifully with those brushes. So to create the scene on the inside, I die cut one of these stags from the Deer Couple twice out of 110 pound Neenah, and then glued them together to create kind of a faux chipboard. So it's just going to give a little bit of elevation there inside my shaker window. And then I'm just going to position that right there with my tweezers and glue that down firmly. And then once I have that nice and firm, I'm just going to let it dry. And then to embellish and give him a little red nose like Rudolph, I'm going to grab some of those Nuvo drops and add just a drop to his nose. I did practice on scrap paper just to make sure I wasn't, you know, burping out like a big blob. And then I'm going to glue some of these sequins that are going to become the filler. I'm just going to glue those onto the background there so that there are always some floating up there in the sky above Rudolph there. And then I added some of those rainbow sequins by High Supply. I love those things. And I love the fact that the whole rainbow theme was just like coming together. I was like, wow, I'm really feeling it. I put some skinny strips of foam mounting tape on the back of my frame, peeled those back lightly, and then I'm just going to go ahead and put that right smack over the top. And then I can go ahead and remove those liner papers. And so this is really, really easy to do. But I did have part of that tear a little bit in half on me. So I just went ahead and finished doing all the other pieces. And then I could flip that and get my tweezers in there into that gap and peel that away. And there you can see I've got my little shaker panel. And then I glued that to an A2 card. And there you go, bam, a really fun, easy shaker card that has a beautiful window with this rainbow foil on it. It turned out awesome, and I just love it. Hope this inspired you, and thanks for watching.